this look familiar? Have you ever suffered from these presentations? Have you given one of those presentations? Data is important, no doubt about that, but how do you make your data rock? In this session, I will share with you 5 tips on how to make your data rock. If you want to make your data rock, we have to go back to the essence of rhetoric. And that brings us right to my friend Aristotle. In the 4th century BCE, he wrote it down on papyrus. The essence of rhetoric is the art of persuasion and moving people to action. This is the power you have as a speaker. But Houston, we have a problem. People don't want to move. They don't want to change. This is why you, as a speaker, you have to use arguments. Arguments from 3 different categories. Logos. Logos means the word, the speech in Old Greek. Logos is the logic. It makes sense what you say. Facts, data, figures, data. Ethos. Your reputation, your authority, your experience, your credibility. Pathos. The emotional appeal. But what about our children? When it makes sense what you say, when they believe you, and when you touch their emotions, you will persuade them and move them to action. For many years I would look at and analyze those pillars separately. But can you really separate them? Or are they interlinked? Of course they are. So for the first time at the beginning of September in 2020, I kicked out ethos and I looked at the correlation between logos and pathos. I created this infographic. Look at the gray field. You've seen it before. Bullet points. Is there any bullet point that ever got you sexually aroused? The yellow fields are really important. Sometimes you want to tell just a story, how you got into that profession, to build your ethos, your credibility. Super important. Sometimes you want to show a pie chart. 33%, 7%, very valid information. But where the magic happens is the red one. That is where you will make your data rock. So what is a data story? I didn't really find a definition I liked, so I created my own definition. A data story is a story that features logical information like numbers or statistics. Second, a data story is a symbol for any combination of logos and pathos. Yeah, Flo, but sometimes we have to present facts, data and figures and there is no emotion. Listen to what my friend and 1995 world champion of public speaking Mueck has to say about that.
Don't just look for the numbers. Look for the stories behind the numbers.
So here are 5 tips on how to make your data rock. Tip number 1. Listen to Nancy. She's a TED.com speaker, a leading top professional in the world of public speaking, presentation skills, and she wrote a book, Nancy Duarte. Her book is called Data Story. Guess what? It's a great book. If you want inspiration, go and read it. His name is Joaquin, a Catalan guy, and it was one of the early training days back in Barcelona. Software company, he was the CFO. In my training with PowerPoint, he had to present the numbers of his department. And everybody like, oh my God, this is gonna be hell on earth. Oh my God, how am I gonna survive this? How am I gonna survive? I need coffee. But Joaquin surprised us all. He's a football fan. The main clients of this company back then were in Italy, in Spain, in France, in Germany, and in the UK. And if you look at these countries, that's the main countries for football, soccer in Europe. So all his clients, when he went through the numbers, all his clients were not the names of the companies, but he used AC Milan and Barca and Bayern München and Chelsea back then, and of course Paris Saint-Germain. He drew an analogy between his passion football and his numbers, his clients. And the whole presentation, we were like, what the hell is going on? That is what you can do when you bring together logos and pathos and tell data stories. The third tip brings me right back to the year 2015, to the beautiful town of Paris. Kenza, a brilliant young lady, and 20s, long dark hair, from Morocco, a young manager at Danone, the yogurt kings. She gave a presentation, and in that presentation she said at one point, Chris, Tom, Florian, you represent 38% of the market. And Carrie, Steph, and Irene, you represent 32% of the market. I thought, wow, she just turned me into a number, a statistic. I call this now personification. And you too can turn people into numbers. They will feel it much more. And this is when logos meets pathos, a data story. Most people present just data, dead data. Our ROAS, our return on advertising spend, has increased by 53% last quarter. This is great news. You could say this as well. Our ROAS always got stuck. But then we met this guy here, Crazy Chris Erthel. He is the guru for Facebook and Instagram ads. And he just tweaked here and tweaked there, tweaked here and tweaked there. We gave him tons of money, but then our ROAS increased by 53% by adding Chris Erthel to your data. You humanize your data. Pathos and logos become one. And this is when you make your data rock. The fifth and last tip is the data story itself. My buddy Aristotle came up with 7 golden rules of storytelling, and 4 of them you see here. Stories have a plot. Stories have people, characters. In stories, people talk to each other with dialogue, and there's a theme: Kill Bill, revenge. Imagine you have to present at a potential client. Zoom or physically. What is the normal presentation? PowerPoint. And then you talk about your product portfolio and the services you can offer to your potential client. And it's all generic and it's all bullet point driven and data driven. OMG. Why don't you choose one project of the past? One project. Let's call it Project X. The plot is problem solution. What is the problem you faced? The problem, describe it, and the solution. Don't come up with a solution right away. You have to struggle like Frodo in Lord of the Rings. That's the plot. Then when you present your Project X, you have people. There is the guy who was against you, the antagonist, and there's the people who helped you, the helper, and there you can talk to them in dialogues. And then Mr. Miller asks me, so what can you do, Flo? Well, we could do that. Dialogue. And the theme is obvious. The theme is the entire Project X itself. One project. All your product portfolio. All your services. And it is engaging. And it is pathos. And it is logos. And it is a data story. And it rocks. And it will make... So here you had them, 5 ideas to make your data rock. You can read Nancy's book, Data Story. You can draw analogies between your own passion and your data, Champions League. You can turn people into numbers, personification. You can add crazy Chris's to 53%. Tiny stories, anecdotes will humanize your data. And you can tell an entire story with one theme. Project X, data stories rock. What can you do now? My suggestion, choose one Project X from your past. One Project X and turn it into an amazing data story. And when you do that, you will make your data